If you ever sat there and said to yourself, I just need to be more consistent, this is the video for you. Because the likelihood is you know what you need to do to lose fat, you just can't seem to stick to it for long enough to see the results you want. And I get it, I was stuck in a body I hated for most of my adult life, and no matter what diet or training plan I tried, I just couldn't seem to stay consistent. But eventually I realized where I was going wrong, and I managed to lose over 70 pounds of body fat, but more importantly, keep it off. And in this video, I'm going to take you through the real reasons that you can't stay consistent with your fat loss, so that you can build that consistency and finally see the results you want. Now, the first reason is what I like to call the Monday mentality, and I bet you know exactly what I'm talking about before I even say it, but if you don't, it's where you start every single week saying the same thing. This is the week I'm actually going to do it. And this usually comes after one of those weekends where maybe you ate a bit too much, drank a bit too much, stayed out too late, and then spent the entire Sunday laying on your sofa nursing a hangover. So you say, right, from tomorrow on Monday, I have to be perfect. And most of the time you will likely be quote unquote perfect for a few days because you feel so guilty that you have a level of motivation that carries you through the start of the week. But that never really lasts. I can still remember a Sunday where I came home after smashing a giant roast and like 7 pints at the pub, and I laid on my sofa and I said to myself, right, tomorrow I'm actually going to be perfect. I'm going to stick to it this time and I'm going to lose fat. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I stuck to my plan and I was perfect. By the time Thursday came around, I was completely burnt out and I quit. And so many people get stuck in that cycle for their entire lives because they treat fat loss like some kind of punishment rather than a sustainable process. What you need to realize is that instead of starting over every single Monday, you need to stop stopping on the weekends. And to help you do that, you should start planning your weekends ahead. Look, if you know you're going out for drinks or for a big meal later, plan ahead for that. Get some steps in early. Get your gym session in the morning, because realistically you aren't going to do it in the afternoon or the evening if you're going out, and save some calories to have a smaller breakfast and lunch so that you can consume more in the evening. And even if you do less on the weekend, just try not to fall completely off the wagon. Do something. If you can't go to the gym, get those steps in. And if you can't do a long workout, try and do a short workout. That way you're not going to feel like shit, I've thrown everything away. And then you won't have to start being perfect on Monday because you stuck to some sort of routine. And if you're looking for recipes that taste like cheat meals, but actually macro friendly, that are going to help you get through the weekend, I've actually put together a free fat loss Kickstarter blueprint, which also includes a free workout plan. You can get that for yourself by clicking the second link in the description. And again, that's free, so make sure you go and get that after this video. The second reason you are struggling to stay consistent is work stress and fatigue. You know how it is after one of those long days at work, some stressful meetings and one of your colleagues has pissed you off, and then you get home and the last thing on your mind is cooking a macro-friendly dinner or going to the gym. And you end up sitting there scrolling TikTok for an hour, sticky on Netflix, and before you know it, you've got a pizza box on your lap and you ate the whole thing. And then you sit there, feel shit about yourself and say, right, tomorrow I'm going to get back on it. And look, that will happen sometimes no matter what you do. But the thing is, it can't happen too often or you won't lose fat. I know this myself so well. I remember countless times getting home at 7 p.m. after a 10-hour day in the office, and I say to myself, right, I'm going to sit down for 5 minutes, then I'm going to cook something good, and I'm going to go for a long walk. An hour later, I was still sat there tired, and I say, fuck it. I'm going to order a takeaway, order it, eat it, and then I would sit there and absolutely hate myself for it. The thing is, there is no way you are ever going to make the right decision at the lowest energy point in the day. So what you need to do is set yourself up for success earlier in the day so that it becomes easy for you to make the right choice. And the easiest way to do that is to meal prep in advance. That way when you get home after those long days, you can open up the fridge, stick it in the microwave, and that's going to stop you from consuming 2,000 plus calories of takeaway. Also, if you can, go to the gym before work. Realistically, 90% of the time, you are not going to have the drive to go to the gym after work. But if that's not possible for you, on those really long days, what you can do is a reversion workout where it's a shortened version of your usual workout, maybe 20 or 30 minutes. That way you can kind of push yourself just to get through it because you know it's not that long. The absolute key though is to stop relying on willpower. Motivation is really high for most people first thing when they wake up, but after work it's more or less gone. So what you need to do is set your environment up in a way that makes it easy for you to make the right choice even when you're completely drained. The third reason you're struggling to stay consistent is because of social eating and drinking. And don't worry, I'm not about to tell you to stop living your life and to bring some Tupperware with steak and eggs to a restaurant. The real issue here though is turning up with absolutely no plan. So when you're really hungry and you're a few drinks in, you end up ordering half the menu, consuming way too much food, and then you wake up tomorrow feeling like absolute shit and hating yourself for it. But don't worry, I used to be the just one drink guy as well. And then by the end of the night, I'd had 8 pints and a kebab on the way home. And look, 8 pints and a kebab every now and then is fine. But remember what I said earlier in the video. Instead of not accounting for it, you have to plan for it. I'll give you an example. Last December, I went on a weekend trip to Dublin and I knew 2 things were guaranteed. Number 1, I was going to drink bucket loads of Guinness. And number 2, I was going to eat shit tons of food. So I planned for it. I did 70,000 steps over the 3 days I was there. And I also went to the gym 2 times in the morning for about 20 minutes. And guess what? I came back lighter than when I left. And no, I'm not telling you you have to do 70,000 steps every single time you go out. But you see my point. Just plan a bit, train earlier in the day, make an effort to get some extra steps in, and try to limit calories and alcohol where you can. But most importantly, I need you to understand this. One day of eating or drinking too much means absolutely fuck all in the grand scheme of things. So forget it, move on, and get back on track tomorrow. Just don't end up spiraling and binge eating for a week or a month because of one bad day. You can have a social life and enjoy yourself whilst losing fat. Just set some boundaries so you don't end up derailing yourself every single weekend. The 4th reason is the number 1 thing that I think stops people from being consistent. And it's an all or nothing mindset. Personally, I've seen a rise in this recently, and I think it stems from these topless fuckers on TikTok telling you to eat nothing but steak and eggs or you won't lose fat, and that sugar is somehow going to kill you. The biggest issue I have with this is that it gives people the idea that if they're not doing everything perfectly, they may as well just not try, and that leads to these extreme binge restrict cycles. I used to think exactly the same thing, and there would be weeks that I was perfect. I would eat everything on plan, train 6 times a week and do a crazy amount of cardio. But then on day 8 or 9, I would make one slip up. I'd have like a tiny bit of cake or a biscuit and I'd say, fuck, I've ruined it all. And I'd throw it all away and end up binging for a week because I felt like I'd ruined it. What I want you to realize is that the people who lose fat and get lean aren't perfect. What I absolutely hate on social media nowadays is these day in a life eating videos. I promise you, 99% of those videos, those people don't eat like that every day. They're doing it for the camera. And it's now become some dick measuring contest to see who can eat the most steak and eggs in a day. It's fucking ridiculous. The best diet and the best plan is the one that you can stick to for the rest of your life. If you eat well most of the time, train most of the time, and get your steps in most of the time, I guarantee you will see more results than being quote unquote perfect for a week and then falling off for a week over and over again. You don't need to be all in. I promise you, you don't. Find a healthy middle ground. Find something that works for you and build a lifestyle around it. That way you're going to be able to lose the fat, but you're also going to be able to keep it off. The 5th reason you keep falling off is because you're trying to do it on your own. Look, I understand that we all think we have this crazy willpower and that we just need to be a little bit more disciplined to see the results we want, but it doesn't work like that. How are you ever going to stay consistent in an environment that encourages you to do the complete opposite? If everyone around you eats too much, doesn't train, and lives for the weekend, what do you think you're going to do? Exactly that. I had to learn this myself the hard way. I can remember the first times I was trying to lose fat, and I would say to certain people around me, I'm going to cut down on alcohol, cut down on going to restaurants, and they look at me and be like, why are you being so boring? Have a couple of pints with us. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And then every single time I ended up giving in, and I'd go home, look in the mirror and be like, why have I done that? And it was because of the people influencing me. So I sought out people who were taking care of themselves, who cared about training, who cared about nutrition. And I'm not telling you to go to your local gym and start waving and saying, hey, can I be your friend? You can find people on the internet now. You can be around people through videos. And the fact you're even watching this tells me that you're already doing that. You can also find a training partner if that helps, or a coach if you want to take things a step further. Just someone to keep you accountable helps massively. So think about who and what you're around, because it's very likely that something or someone in your life is holding you back. The 6th reason is something that I really want you to take in, and it's having completely unrealistic expectations. Listen, I get why you want fast results. I really do. I've been there myself. But you cannot undo years of overeating and years of inactivity in a few weeks. I see it all the time. People get fast results in the first week or two, but then the scale slows down and they start thinking, shit, this just isn't working for me anymore, and they give up. Weight loss and fat loss are never linear, so it's incredibly important that you stay patient. Don't give up, and don't go looking for a new plan or some new supplement that's going to magically help you, because that is exactly how you just reset that cycle. Look, you just need to stay persistent. And the good news is that slow fat loss is usually sustainable fat loss. Most people never reach their goals because they give up at the first sign of resistance, but that resistance is usually a sign that you're about to make a breakthrough. So just make the necessary adjustments where you need to, and you will succeed. When you play the long game, it just becomes inevitable. So instead of chasing speed, chase consistency, and that is how you're going to get lean for life. And if you want me by your side on that journey, as someone who's done it himself, and someone who's helped many others to do it, click the first link in the description, watch the video, and see if my coaching is the right fit for you. Other than that, if this video helped, leave it a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.